to bear. And we know that the matter has been settled, and we don't expect them to come back. Should they come back, we know it is a witch hunt.
However, according to the Drug Enforcement Commission spokesperson Matthias Kamanga, says an ordinary statement was recorded from the First Lady and the property is seized and further investigations are continuing following her explanation. After all was done and they were back at their apartment in Twin Palm area, the First family chose to maintain a vow of silence but gave the honor of addressing the media to acting President Given Lubinda.
The former First Lady was kept in suspense for 1 week, purely because somebody wanted to do some window dressing. That was a torturous 1 week for her, torturous 1 week for her friends, for her husband and her family. She was supposed to have appeared last week, hadn't it been because somebody wanted to pretend that he is governing this country in a manner that is satisfactory.
Meanwhile, Imbatot Kabushi Member of Parliament Bomalu Sambo still maintains his ambition of being president.
My ambitions, I launched the ambitions some time back, and it's not a secret. And I want to come and change the way Zambians perceive politicians. Okay? Politicians are good people. Okay? They work tirelessly. They live their...
Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
United Party for National Development, UPND spokesperson Cornelius Mwetwa has rubbished claims by some political opponents that some people are politically being persecuted. Speaking at a press briefing in Lusaka Tuesday, Mr. Mwetwa says the UPND administration is concerned with growing accusations that it is behind the elongated incarceration of former PF Deputy Secretary General Mumbi Piri, when in fact not. He says President Hakainde Hichilema is on record that his administration would not interfere with operations of investigative wings. Mr. Mwetwa has also revealed that UPND is concerned with the slow pace at which judicial wings are handling cases, not only that of Mumbi Piri, but many others. Meanwhile, Mr. Mwetwa has commended the Zambia police for ensuring professionalism when handling those that went to offer solidarity to former First Lady Esther Lungu Tuesday.
As head of state, cannot narrow his focus on an individual. No. That is the work of the criminal justice system, and all of us are desirous that it becomes more efficient. That is the way we shall uphold, protect, promote, and defend the rights of our citizens. So, there is no political persecution being waged by the UPND government against those colleagues who belong to the previous administration. There is just prosecution at law. And all the laws being applied were enforced and left by the previous administration. The only thing that has changed is that now institutions of government are being given the leverage of freedom to...
Forum for Democracy and Development, FDD President EDITH NAWAKWI has described law enforcement wings as a clique of excited young people whose motive is to get to former President Edgar Lungu through the former First Lady, who is being investigated in connection with having 15 flats. According to the Drug Enforcement Commission, the 15 flats may be proceeds of crime. And speaking when she was featured on the Camnet TV program dubbed National Matters, Ms. NAWAKWI accused the United Party for National Development of political persecution. And Ms. NAWAKWI has charged that Zambia would not get an IMF bailout package if the former Patriotic Front Deputy Secretary General Mumbi Piri remains in police custody without trial.
Forum for Democracy and Development President EDITH NAWAKWI After a long absence from the public life, Monday, 25th July 2022, was the guest on Camnet television discussion program dubbed National Matters. Ms. NAWAKWI did not contest the August 12 general election as she opted to back the Patriotic Front, who were replaced by the United Party for National Development, UPND. On the program, she talked about a number of issues, including the need to expand the agricultural sector beyond maize and improve exports using the Constituency Development Fund, CDF. Ms. NAWAKWI, during the interview, described law enforcement wings as a clique of excited young people whose motive is to get to former President Edgar Lungu through the former First Lady Esther Lungu, who is being investigated in connection with 15 floods, as they feel they could be proceeds of crime.
She's just before a clique of young people who don't understand the political economy of our country. First, let me say this. It's an embarrassment to this nation. We are a laughing stock, and I said this in the afternoon to someone. I said, as a country, we are a laughing stock. And if our current leader doesn't stop this rubbish, it's going to follow him. Because today is Esther, tomorrow it will be Mutinta. I'm telling you, Nyanis.
A former Patriotic Front Deputy Secretary General, Mombi Piri, remains in police custody without trial. And on KCM and Vedanta opting to resolve matters outside the court, she said Vedanta has been a bad investor and must not be accepted back in Zambia.
And how they came in, picking up the mines for literally nothing. $25 million. And the devastation that they've caused on the copper belt. You can't, in my tribe we say, you can't be going back to Vedanta now. You need to be looking ahead. We have been miners as a country. We've run mines. And there are countries in the world that are in joint partnership with mining houses. Chile, for example, at a time when we were getting literally nothing from mining, Chile was getting close to 50% of their income from the mining houses because they were in partnership with the mining houses.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
A businessman, Musonda Trust Musunga, has sued an online taxi operating company, Orlando Taxi Limited, for damages and unlawful termination of his contract as managing director. In a writ of summon filed before the Lusaka High Court through Mr. Musonda's legal representative, Gabriel and Company, it is alleged that the contract was terminated after an illness and facing threats from the taxi company. The summon reviews that Mr. Musonda is the lead shareholder with 13,500 shares and two others identified as Hagai Mandefu and Fanch Jerry as other shareholders. The Constitutional Court has set October 21st, 2022 as Judgment Day in a matter in which Matero Constituency United Party for National Development UPND losing candidate Tom Michelo appealed against the High Court's judgment declaring Miles Sampa duly elected Member of Parliament for Matero constituency. In late December 2021, High Court Judge Derek Molenga dismissed Mr. Michelo's petition on grounds that he failed to prove the electoral malpractices allegations leveled against Mr. Sampa. The petition is subject to the August 12, 2021 election, where Tom Michelo polled 33,598 votes against 55,612 votes for Miles Sampa. More in this report.
Drama characterized the 2021 general election after the aftermath of the decisive election was made known to the citizens. The presidential seat went by what the numbers of votes indicated on the ballot papers. However, members of parliament had to prove that they were duly elected following a series of petitions. Among the MPs hit by the petitions include Matero Member of Parliament Miles Sampa, whose UPND close rival Tom Michelo petitioned at the Lusaka High Court, appealed against the decision of Lusaka High Court Judge Derek Molenga on 21st December 2021 before the Constitutional Court. In his appeal, Mr. Michelo alleged that the judge's decision to uphold that there was no evidence to show that acts of violence were widespread and prevented the majority of voters in the constituency from electing the candidate of their choice were misplaced. Tom Mijelo got 33,598 votes against 55,612 votes in the elections held on August 12, 2022. According to a memorandum of appeal filed before the Concourt in 2021, Mr. Mijelo raised over 10 grounds of appeal, among them that the trial judge did not follow the law when he ignored and disregarded the overwhelming evidence of acts of violence laid before him. To this effect, the Constitutional Court has reserved October 21, 2022 for judgment in this matter to determine whether or not Mau Sampa is duly elected Matero Constituency Member of Parliament. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News in Lusaka.
This is Camnet Television and not just another channel. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more news.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
The Agriculture and Commercial Show is back, bigger and better under the theme Innovation Through Technology. And as Camnet TV, we are here to transform your business through our technology. Advertise with us on discounted rates during the month of July and during the Agriculture and Commercial Show. Special price package for live stunt interviews, on-screen product placement during the coverage of the show. For more details, call the following numbers. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. We continue with the news. Lusaka District Commissioner Rosa Zulu has urged youths to participate in various youth engagement meetings that are taking place across the country, aimed at taking into account their views to aid in the formation of a national youth development strategic plan. Addressing the youths at the Lusaka administration offices Tuesday, Ms. Zulu explains that the engagement meetings are being done to implement discussions that took place at the 2022 National Youth Indaba in March. Meanwhile, in interviews with Camnet News, the youths say engaging them before forming policies that affect them will go a long way in solving various challenges affecting the youths in Zambia. More in this report.
Data from the Zambia Statistics Agency ZAMSTATS shows that over 50% of the country's population are youths, a clear indicator that the nation's future is dependent on them. The state of most youths in Zambia is, however, a story sight, as many are roaming the streets due to high levels of unemployment in the country. A National Youth Indaba was therefore held in March of 2022 to hear problems affecting the youths and find possible solutions to these problems, graced by Republican Vice President Mutalina Lumango. The engagement of various youths across the country has therefore commenced in line with the Indaba to help in the formulation of the National Youth Development Strategic Plan. Lusaka District Commissioner Rosa Zulu addressed Lusaka youths who gathered at her office Tuesday.
It became clear during the Indaba that a national youth strategic plan is needed to guide the government and its partners in handling the affairs of the youth. The youth need education, training, employment, business opportunities, farming and many other things, which without a deliberate plan by all stakeholders cannot be provided.
Meanwhile, Assistant Director for Population and Social Statistics at ZAMSTATS Chipalo Kaliki also addressed the youths.
Any challenges that we are facing with regard to land access, for example, financing, for example, and anything that is related to the area of agriculture, climate change, and things like that. There will be also an area that will be focusing on industrialization, entrepreneurship, and business. What are the challenges that you face as youth in as far as, formation of an organization of business is concerned?
In interviews with Camnet News, the youth say it is only prudent for them to be engaged in the formulation of policies that will affect them.
So we thank the government. They have come on board. As they have come on board to know our intentions, to know our views. So we think this exercise will help a lot.
So Lusaka district. Those participating in the engagement have been handpicked by civic leaders in various constituencies. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Inter-African Governance Network, AfriNet, has written to the Clerk of the National Assembly to urgently put up measures to restore dignity in the august House. Organization Executive Director Maurice Malambo says the dignity of Parliament is fast eroding and being diluted by consistent unparliamentary conduct and language by individual members of Parliament from both the ruling and opposition parties. Mr. Malambo says the current crop of members of Parliament will not only be rightfully profiled as the West National Assembly in terms of moral and intellectual caliber Zambia has ever had, but that as a nation it may over time set mediocre standards for subsequent parliamentary representation and national leadership in every arena of public office.
In modern politics and history, a parliament is a legislative body of government. Generally, a modern parliament has three functions, which includes representing the electorate, making laws, and overseeing the government via hearing and inquiries. In Zambia, however, the use of imperative language by some members of parliament while on the floor of the House has become a norm, and no one seems to be bothered by the fact that those who have been elected to make laws on behalf of the people are now exchanging insults in parliament. The Inter-African Governance Network, AfriNet, has since written to the Clerk of the National Assembly to urgently put up measures to restore dignity in parliament.
The Inter-African Governance Network has lodging correspondence with the Clerk of National Assembly in respect to a string of misconduct or conduct that dilutes the decorum of Parliament. Nearly every week there is a case of misconduct on the floor of Parliament. Unfortunately, this is taking place from both the sides, the ruling party and the opposition members of Parliament.
Mr. Malambo says it takes recognizance of the fact that Parliament is governed by its own rules, referred to as standing orders pursuant to subsection 77(1) of the Republican Constitution. Therefore, requesting the Clerk of the National Assembly to engage the Standing Order Committee and other parliamentary conduct inside operatives to consider stiffer sanctions against the prevalent conduct in breach of parliamentary dignity.
It is our observation that the pace at which the decorum of Parliament is being eroded, if no drastic measures are taken, unfortunately, the current crop of members of Parliament will go down into the history of the country so far as the West National Assembly in terms of moral and intellectual pedigree. And there's need for these people to exercise a sense of seriousness in their engagement and not what we are seeing.
Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Some council workers in Lusaka have protested at what they term as unfair termination of contracts, alleging that Lusaka City Council owes them 7 months in arrears. Speaking to Camnet TV Tuesday, one of the affected workers, Johnson Kaumba, has complained over their unpaid dues, adding that the council did not give them any prior notice. They are demanding that the local authority settles their arrears before they can vacate their positions, adding that their jobs are their only source of income. More in this report.
There was a fracas Tuesday morning at Lusaka City Council, where council workers took it upon themselves to protest over what they term as an unfair termination of their job contract by the local authorities. These workers say it has come as a shock to them as early this morning their jobs have been terminated by the council without any prior notice. Details on the matter are that these council workers had allegedly entered into a verbal contract with Lusaka City Council in November of 2021, which gave them permission to continue working as council employees, despite their 2 years contract having ended in November of the same year. And speaking to Camnet TV, Agatha Katema, a group leader, says the council had stated that these 143 council workers are not subject to any termination as they were allowed to continue working. However, earlier today, the council had informed them of their termination. They say that for the past 8 months that they have been working for the council, they owe them 7 months in arrears.
I'm sure
and the workers have since called on Lusaka City Council to either keep them in employment or consider settling the arrears.
Families one no kuvota bali votere beshi wakati we votere nani if to vote na government of the day amona eba futi batutamfya twalaya kuisa oko twalaya
after abana ichilingati bese pano nchinshi atina batamfya machito nomba finshi bachitire so balifa beshibe.
They have employed new people. Yes. After they have employed new, if they have used us, we have taught those people what to do. At the end of it, they have come out and then they have chased us to say we have now become useless. Why? We have got families. And then when we go in the offices there, they are upset. We have worked for that money. We have suffered. Okay, we don't want a job. We need our money. Let them give us now. If they are not going to give us our money, everyone here, tomorrow we are reporting for work.
Messi Chanika reporting for Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
Persons with disabilities Tuesday morning held a peaceful protest at their headquarters demanding for the return of their former Director General. Speaking to Camnet TV News, the Street Vendors Organization for Persons with Disabilities chairperson Peter Nkunika says the former Director General was fit to lead them, saying he shared the vision that they had, unlike the current one in office. They say persons with disabilities require a leader who understands their challenges in order for him to advocate for their rights before stakeholders. Meanwhile, the National Advocacy on the Rights for Persons with Disabilities President Euphrasia Lupia says for a long time, persons with disabilities have struggled to find a leader who amplifies their voices, hence they would not leave until their cry is heard. More in the following report.
People at Tuesday morning held a peaceful protest at the Zambia Agency for Persons with Disabilities, ZAPID, headquarters, where they were demanding for the return of their former Director General Nicholas Goma, whom they have described as a good leader. Speaking to Camnet TV, the Street Vendors Organization for Persons with Disabilities chairperson Peter Nkunika says they are not going to settle for any other leader, saying that Mr. Goma shared in their vision.
We are all the time on the street. I'm growing old now. I need to move out from the street and do some other work. It doesn't mean that I am down. I am not down. I am matured enough in business. Now they've brought somebody who has got a vision for us, persons with disability. They've brought a person who has got a vision, and within 3 months, 4 months time, they've chased him away. Why? We need the reason.
And others add this to say,
So following corruption, you take money from here for the disabled and take them to the ministry to give those people. Now with him, he doesn't want. He just wants to empower disabled people. Some to get employed, some to just give them money over their projects. Now, those people, they don't want that. They want to keep disabled suffering like that. And so far, he has done something good there behind as a nursery training for disabled.
Meanwhile, the National Advocacy on Rights for Persons with Disabilities representative says persons living with these challenges need people who understand them.
And if we are five people, can someone go and beg? Now, after 119.
No, your cause is just. Your cause is just. That's why we're not.
But you know, find the popular officer. Move on, Fipanota Bombi. That's when we are going to be at peace. Or otherwise, let me tell my people to get inside. But if you know what
Messi Chanika reporting for Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
This is Camnet Television News. We'll take our second and final break. We'll be back with international and sports news.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
The Agriculture and Commercial Show is back bigger and better under the theme Innovation Through Technology. And as Camnet TV, we are here to transform your business through our technology. Advertise with us on discounted rates during the month of July and during the Agriculture and Commercial Show. Special price package for live stunt interviews, on-screen product placement during the coverage of the show. For more details, call the following numbers. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
And now in international news, at least 5 people have been killed and 50 others wounded on the second day of anti-United Nations protests in the Eastern Democratic Republic.